Howdy, folks. Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Tuesday episode. I hope Monday treated you fairly. We are doing a Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10, Episode 1 recap. It's been a long time since I've recapped Potomac. I think we did one season, an entire season on the Patreon one year, and then I fell off of recapping Potomac. And listen, tell me if you like this. If you don't, we don't need to recap the entire season, or maybe we'll do smaller recaps or whatever. But I really was intrigued with this first episode. I thought it was really good, and it was good. But it wasn't like the end all be all. And I mean that as a compliment, because when you start a season, you want it to be good. You want it to get you excited, but you want there to be a little room to grow, if that makes sense. And so, like, you had the Giselle, you had Ashley, Stacy, what a fantastic wackadoo. And I say that with love because you need wackadoos. You need wackadoos in housewife shows. You need a wackadoo in every reality show. A wackadoo can provide hours and hours of endless entertainment. So we'll go through this. It'll probably be, a little different from my normal recaps. I don't even know what I mean when I say that. But anyways, that's what we're going to do. We also have exit interviews from the two winners of the new Jimmy Fallon show that airs on Tuesday night. So a new episode airs tonight. It's called On Brand with Jimmy Fallon, and it airs on NBC. So it's like a quick 12-minute interview. I'll put it at the end of the Potomac recap, and we'll do some pop culture stories at the beginning here. So that is a beautiful pop culture sandwich. We're going to get some pop culture news, some Bravo recap, and then some winner interviews. I mean, that you can't ask for more. Listen, that I'm just telling myself this, just my insecurity. I'm like, come on, Ryan, that is a good show. But I hope you are doing well. And if you're not, I hope we can provide a little bit of levity for your day. Thank you for tuning in on Monday. We had comments by celebs filling in for Sophie Ross, and I think it was fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I really, really enjoyed that. Let's see, what did I do with my day today? I woke up super early because I had an in-person interview at Studio 71, which you'll hear next week, celebrating spooky season, celebrating Halloween and horror films, which I think horror films are a cornerstone of pop culture. Come on. What is it about us, or a lot of us, that we love to be scared? Like, I don't love to be scared in my real life. You know, the real life is scary enough. But for some reason, I love to be scared. And I'm not just talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I love horror films. So I always look forward to October in a certain way, because it reminds you of all of the times that you've been scared growing up, or as a kid, that first horror film that you saw, or that you begged the babysitter to let you watch. You know, like, no, I won't tell my parents. I won't tell my parents. So yeah, happy spooky season. It's going way too quick. I think today's the 7th. My God, we already a week into October. Patreon listeners, I believe we're going to do our live Patreon on October 27th, a Wednesday, I believe. So if you're a Patreon member, we'll be doing a live spooky season. So Bad It's Good spooktacular. So if you're not a Patreon member, sign up. If you are, we look forward to seeing you there. And I did an interview, and then I worked out with my trainer, and I almost deadlifted how much I weigh. I almost deadlifted that. Well, I did deadlift. Well, I did deadlift, but it was not the exact weight. I mean, we're so close. I'm getting so strong, you guys. I'm getting so strong. So shout out to my trainer, Simon. I always love it. And he entertains me because he'll just tell stories and stuff like that while I'm panting and trying to catch my breath. And he's very entertaining. I think I'm going to have Simon come on the show and talk with you guys. We were talking about fun topics. We were talking about celebrity trainers. So I think it's going to be in that world. So I look forward to having him on. I think you guys will get a big kick out of him. But you guys are good before we continue? If you're not good, okay, I just want to make sure you're okay. Whatever it is, we can get through it. That's what I'm trying to practice my parenting and raising a teenager eventually. That's right. I am going to have a child. I mean, in just a bunch of months. Yep. Oh God, can you imagine, folks? What is what is this podcast going to look like when I have a child? And do you even really, I mean, that's the other thing. Do I even talk about it? Do I keep it like not mum's the word, but you know what I'm saying? Do you guys want to hear shit like that? What if I turn into like a baby influencer? That would be very, very interesting. Um, so I did that. I trained and I came back and I took a nap. I don't usually. I was watching Potomac again, and I fell asleep. And I woke up. I didn't know where I was. You know those kind of naps where you wake up and you're like, "What the fuck? What day? Oh my god! What year are we in? 2025 still?" So I'm slowly waking up from that nap and talking with you here. And then I was scrolling through TikTok as I am wont to do every hour of my life now, and I just came across a clip about the Osbournes because Ozzy Osbourne passed away this year. And Jack Osbourne, his son, is interviewed on Good Morning America. He was interviewed today, I believe. And he was interviewed by Chris Connolly. If you remember Chris Connolly, he used to be on MTV News and now he's gone on to greener pastures. But Ozzy Osbourne has a new book, his last memoir called Last Rites, that's coming out on top of that Paramount Plus documentary I talked about yesterday. But I was really, I started like, because Jack was crying in the interview, and then I started crying watching it because this is a man, a son in deep grief. And they were talking about his mom, Sharon, and how she's doing. And, he was like, she's all right, but at the same time, she's not all right. And I think for any of us that have lost somebody so close in our lives, that rings so true, right? Is that you can get through things. You can get through life. You can move, left foot, right foot, and you can talk to people, but there's like a piece of you that is like broken in some way. And it was also reminding me of family in the sense that the Osbournes, when we watch them, a lot of us grew up watching them on MTV on the Osbournes, which I love that reality show so deeply, is that families, they come in all shapes and sizes, right? Is that when I was watching the Osbournes, I didn't know that that's what their family was like, that family dynamic. When I was growing up, Ozzy Osbourne was somebody that bit the head off a bat allegedly, and you were like, he was like, there was a little bit of, you got scared of Ozzy, right? And then the Osbournes showed that he was like kind of this bumbling dad, like a Jack, Sharon, I want to vote Labour, oh Sharon, please. He was like this bumbling dad. He was like the antithesis of what like Bill Cosby was on the Cosby Show. And I loved it so much, and I loved their family. And you could tell, even though it probably didn't look like my family, you could tell it was a family that had so much love for each other. And it was just this great reminder that all families look different. Ozzy Osbourne did his last performance on July 5th, and Jack described it as a living wake in some ways because Ozzy died 17 days later after that final concert. And Ozzy spent the last 7 years of his life, he had fallen and really hurt his back and neck and went through like 7 surgeries to try to repair the damage done. And he was in a great deal of pain. And, Jack said, how do you think your dad wanted to be remembered? And he said, as somebody who loved his job and his family. And I thought that was so fitting. It's like, man, like you could tell this guy, because if you watch the Osbournes and then you would watch him or clips of him on stage, and it was like two different people. And you could tell this is a guy that's seriously in love with the audience and in love with his music. And at the same time, somebody that truly loved his family as well. And I thought, what a great life. But it is so sad to think about, the pain that his family's in. And it reminded me of the pain my family has been in, or maybe even your family and the pain that they've been in. But I thought it was like this beautiful interview. But I wrote that down. I was like, I got to read that book or listen to that book because, I listen to audiobooks now. Also, on Monday's episode, I talked about how the Jennifer Lopez film Kiss of the Spider Woman comes out this Friday, and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon produced that film. Well, they had the red carpet premiere tonight, and Ben Affleck showed up and took pictures with J Lo, which I thought was, that's what you do when you're selling a film, man. You got to be this united front, even though you have split up 2 times. And I thought it was great, but it's always like the paparazzi photos or the photos at that event are so funny because there's always one photo with J-Lo and Ben that will always come off semi-aggro. There's like one photo that looks like Ben's intensely talking to J-Lo. And I wonder in those moments, because they're shuttering, like the shutter speed is so quick. So you're taking like hundreds of photos within like a 10-second span of time. And I was thinking, like, if you took photos of all of us having a conversation, is there one photo that could look angry when you're not angry at all? But maybe Ben Affleck just speaks with that seriousness all the time. But I loved it because the photos were like, oh, that's really nice. They're promoting this movie together, even though they're divorced. But then there was one photo from the side that looked like he was like, "How dare you take me away from my busy job of smoking cigarettes and drinking Dunkin' Donuts? How dare you, J Lo?" But I love that. I don't know, not paparazzi, but photographs as celebrity events are great. And it is interesting the times that we live in. We get to see so much more than we ever did growing up. I mean, think about the 90s. You would have those paparazzi photos of, all of the weirdos following Britney around in the late 90s and early aughts. Those were horrific. But the photos at red carpet events or MTV TRL, they were highly staged affairs in a lot of ways. And what got to us was so sanitized. But in today's pop culture age, I feel like you get everything. You get everything. Also, I want to make a potential correction on a story. Yeah, shocking. This is a hard news podcast, and yet sometimes I do make mistakes. I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but we talked about at the beginning of the show, Brittany Cartwright, shots, I thought, did a post on Instagram revealing that she got her breast implants that Jax paid for all those years ago on Vanderpump Rules. I thought she got them removed. And then a comment she responded to on Instagram suggests that this is more of a mommy makeover. A mommy makeover, which would mean maybe like a tummy tuck. I just feel like if you're going to do that mommy makeover, let's get those boobs out. Let's get to a different size, a more manageable size. I know that sounds disgusting coming from a dude. I'm aware of that, but don't treat me like a dude. Treat me like the weirdo I am, you guys. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. So I just want to put it out there. Might not be removal of the breast, but if you did remove the breast, Brittany, Tamra Judge's removed implant is on the Watch What Happens Live set. We could take your implant and replace Tamra's implant. I would love that. I would even pitch in to ship that to the Watch What Happens Live audiences. Watch What Happens Live offices. So who knows? I'll try to keep you posted because I know this is hard-hitting news that we need to be up to date on if Brittany did get these implants removed, or maybe it'll just be a surprise on season 3 of The Valley. Like I said, a very special episode where Brittany's like, goodbye implants, I'm busy. I'm going to do mommy makeover. Okay, moving on. Since I am working on my fitness, I thought this story was very inspiring for any of you working on your fitness as well. This weekend, we had the Taco Bell 50K. Yes, that's correct. Taco Bell has thrown the world's most gastrically demanding ultra marathon. This past weekend on Saturday, October 4th in Denver, Colorado, the International Taco Bell 50K Ultra Marathon took place. The race, this is no joke, you guys. This sounds like something I'm making up, but no, this race is now in its 8th year. And it asks its participants to run 31.07 miles, and you stop at 10 Taco Bells and eat a menu item from at least 9 of those stops, all in under 11 hours. Wait, so like you stop at 10, but you only have to eat at 9? Is like the 10th one just like use the shitter? Like that poor Taco Bell, like the 10th one. I'm like, I can't do it. The rules state in this that drinks don't count as food, if that's what you were wondering, and racers, I don't know what the purpose of this is. Racers aren't allowed to take Pepto-Bismol, Alka-Seltzer, or other indigestion-related medicines. How are we going to keep them honest on this? Runners must also keep receipts and wrappers for confirmation of stupidity, as survivors of the athletic and gastrointestinal feat Today reports. This is from an article on today.com. Participants must have consumed at least one Chalupa Supreme or Crunchwrap Supreme by the 4th stop, and at least one Burrito Supreme or Nachos Bel Grande by the 8th. And this is all directly from their website. It says survivors will eventually get a commemorative item after successful completion of the run. If you intend to participate, RSVP your statement of intent. Once you RSVP, you are in. This is like the goblet of fire. That is in quotation marks. Now, there are special side quest races. There are special side quests racers can undertake for special kudos. You have the Diablo Challenge, which involves covering all items consumed with ultra spicy Diablo sauce and downing a Diablo shooter at the end. And the Baja Blast Challenge, which involves drinking 2 liters of Baja Blast during the run without vomiting. These are in the official rules, you guys. This is a quote from Jason Romero, who co-created the race, says, the first few years there were a handful of folks, and then, some different running groups heard about it because we're in Colorado. Romero came up with the idea with 2 running friends when one of them stopped in a Taco Bell to use the bathroom. That friend thought the fast food chain would be an interesting place to fuel up. Quote, we all have a chuckle, but they keep saying it, and it sounds like a great idea to me, And I was like, okay, I had enough. I'm a doer, not a talker, so enough talking. Get this shit together. If we could just use Jason's chutzpah with something that actually would help the world. I mean, he sounds like we need him. The race is not officially affiliated with Taco Bell. So want to make that clear, but it does have an official charity partner, Achilles International Denver chapter, and the proceeds go to disabled runners in the Denver area for race entry fees and running equipment. Yeah, you have to pay to do this race. You have to pay to get torturous diarrhea while you run 30 miles. Jason lets us know that last year there were 170 people participating, but this year they have 1,500 registrants. 1,500 people. Although Romero expects that 40% of that number will not show up. I love that. I just signed up and then I got scared at the last minute. Then I love this. People have gotten scared about the hyper growth, but I've always said we're not capping it. I liked that the people that have participated the first 7 years, it's like, it's getting too popular. I liked it when it was more of independent. Now it's getting really out of hand. Now, this is interesting. Jason says we have 0 accidents on the course, and we have 4 values that we have for the run. Each Taco Bell is roughly 3 miles apart from each other, and part of our rules are that no runner is to be able to be out on the course alone. That's great. Last year, professional ultra runner Sage Canaday came in first place, running and eating his way through the course in a record time of 4 hours and 28 minutes. Wow. According to research, over half of the ultra runners get nauseated during races. And while eating Taco Bell doesn't seem like it would help with this, Romero begs to differ. It actually works very well, he says. You have the fat, the grease, the protein. It actually is very good for long distance running. So that happened this weekend. So I've got to, this might be a recurring story. We got to do an update once you know what? If anybody is listening, knows anybody that participated in this event, please pass along my information. I would love to interview them on So Bad It's Good. This is So Bad It's Good. This race, imagine that. Like, I think Taco Bell is best had after a night of drinking when you forget about like all kind of like good choices. Those are out the window. That's when Taco Bell is best. And usually my bouts with Taco Bell, it's like once or twice a year now, there's like a deep hatred of myself after I, eat the Taco Bell, and next day is like a really bad day for me. And yet I will never stop. Like I will never stop. I think there is something that I love to, I'm a masochist when it comes to food. So this was right up my alley. I will never run 30 miles in my life. But I will I will do like 8 or 9 different stops to do this. I'll do that part of the challenge. So I figured you guys needed to hear about this. And finally, I told you guys this Denise Richards, Aaron Phypers divorce is going to get so nasty. Well, we got some more information today. Denise Richards, during her testimony, claimed that her ex would often threaten to throw me through the windows and off balconies of hotels, she tearfully stated. Quote, he's almost killed me so many damn times. Earlier that day, Denise Richards recounted what led to their split on July 4th. Quote, he got very angry at me and volatile. He got very close to me. I had just recovered from a full facelift and I still had stitches behind my ears and I felt extremely vulnerable. Describing how their arguments would turn physical, she alleged he would get as close as a couple inches from my face. He would grab my arms and he would yell, call me names such as cheating, whore, and a see you next Tuesday, and a lying biatch. Richard said she was feeling extremely vulnerable and in pain and suggested that Phypers go stay at their old house where his family was living at the time. That night, she left their shared townhome and slept on her office sofa next door. She is quoted as saying, "Emotionally, it was hard for me to understand, especially with having what he has done for a living, working in the wellness space, that he would know how much that this would affect me emotionally too. And it just made me feel vulnerable. It made me feel scared. It made me feel sad. It made me feel intimidated by him. He's very big. I'm a lot smaller than him." The next day, on July 5th, Aaron Phypers and his father allegedly entered the room where she was sleeping and threatened to release naked photos found on her phone in April. Richards also claimed that Phypers struck her with the back of his left hand before leaving. She says, "I was wearing a baseball cap. My head moved. He flipped the hat off very aggressively. I still had stitches on one side of the ear, which caused some bleeding and so much pain because I had incisions on both sides." She claimed she told Phypers that he hurt her, but he allegedly denied it, saying, quote, "He said, I didn't touch you," and he turned around and walked away with his dad. Richard said she called Phypers' mother and began dialing 911, but Phypers allegedly threatened her, saying, "Something very dangerous is going to happen to you. You're going to disappear." In September, after Richards obtained a temporary restraining order against Phypers, another incident allegedly occurred at her townhouse when he returned to retrieve his laptop. She accused him of asking for her phone, which she hid in her shorts. "He grabbed me by both arms and then pushed me down the stairs," claiming that Phypers then left with his laptop along with her purse and credit cards. Richards also described earlier incidents, including one night in April at a hotel in Chicago for Comic-Con, when she said Phypers confronted her about messages with another man. She claimed he began grabbing me, pushing me down, adding that his fingers were around my face. She told him he was going to give me a bruise. She also allegedly said, "Please stop, you're hurting me." The following month, Richards said she was staying at a Los Angeles hotel after undergoing a 7-hour surgery on her breasts and stomach. She claimed she had fallen asleep and given Phypers her laptop password to watch TV, but was awakened by him being very hostile and aggressive about her messages with another man. "He sat me down on the toilet and I was shaking, holding my phone on my lap," Richards alleged. He said, "Give me your fucking phone." She claimed Phypers then hit me with his right hand, damaging the surgical drain from her recovery. In tears, Richards said she had asked why he hit her, and he allegedly replied, "I didn't hit you. I need your fucking phone." This is from a People magazine article. Also, it is reported that Kathleen McAllister, the cousin of Denise Richards' ex-husband Aaron Phypers, is supporting Denise's previous claims of abuse against her estranged spouse. So this was all during a virtual court hearing today, or Monday, October 6th. And this is all about a temporary restraining order against Aaron, right? So Kathleen McAllister, his cousin, testified saying, "I saw Aaron hit Denise and immediately she had a really bad black eye. I'm literally in shock now to this day about it." So this is just horrifying news. And when this story first broke, I was like, this is going to get so much worse. And he has gone so public and done many interviews, some on TMZ, taking people through their space and, painting a lot of stories himself. So I feel like, you can tell with stories like this, it just feels like the tip of the iceberg, but it just feels very, very scary. I mean, how can you not be horrified by this testimony?